The storm had soaked her clothes hours ago, but what truly froze her was the look in her daughter's eyes, the quiet hunger, the fear of another night without food. When she finally gathered the courage to knock on the glass door of the mansion, she whispered the words that cost her the last piece of her pride, "Can I clean your house for a plate of food?" But the moment the millionaire saw her, he didn't move. He didn't blink. He just froze. If you believe kindness can change a life, and that everyone deserves a second chance, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Ripple of Kindness. Your support helps these stories reach more hearts. She hadn't always been this desperate. Once, Mara lived a quiet but stable life, working as a receptionist while raising her little girl, Leah, alone. But life, unpredictable and merciless, can unravel faster than anyone expects. When the company downsized, her position disappeared. When her landlord raised the rent, she couldn't keep up. And when her old car broke down, her chances of finding a new job became even slimmer. It wasn't long before the savings she clung to were gone, replaced by overdue notices, then eviction papers, and finally, silence. The kind of silence that fills the corners of abandoned apartments and lingers in the hearts of tired single mothers. That morning, Leah had woken up crying for food. Mara had given her the last dry crackers, pretending she wasn't hungry. But the truth was she hadn't eaten properly in 3 days. She wrapped her shivering daughter in her only cardigan and began walking without a plan, her boots sinking into the wet ground. Then she saw it, a modern glass mansion, standing like a monument to a life she could barely imagine. She didn't know who owned it. She didn't know what she would say. But desperation is louder than fear, and with trembling hands, she knocked. Inside, Adrian Cole, a millionaire known for his strategic mind and cold efficiency, was reviewing documents when he heard the knock. He rarely answered the door himself, but something, maybe the faint sound of a child, made him walk toward the entrance. As the doors slid open, his gaze landed on Mara, soaked, exhausted, her sweater torn, her child clinging to her shoulder. He opened his mouth to speak, but then he froze, because he recognized her. Years ago, before success and wealth, before he built his empire, he had been a young man working night shifts, nearly failing out of college. And there had been one person who believed in him then, an older student who stayed after class, tutoring him for free, telling him he could become more. Her name had been Mara. She looked different now, thinner, worn by life, but her eyes were the same. And there, in that moment, the man who had everything felt something crack inside him. Mara didn't recognize him at all. Why would she? He had been a lost boy no one expected anything from. Trying not to look directly into his eyes, she stared at the ground and whispered again, her voice barely audible. She told him she didn't want money, only work. She would clean floors, scrub bathrooms, wash dishes, anything, if he could give her just one plate of food for her daughter. As she spoke, Leah lifted her head and looked at Adrian with the wide, hungry eyes of a child trying to be brave. Rain dripped from their clothes onto the marble floor, forming small puddles around their feet. Adrian felt shame rise inside him, shame that he, a man with halls of polished surfaces and untouched rooms, had somehow missed the suffering happening outside his world. He motioned for them to come inside, and Mara hesitated as though the doorway burned. But Leah, too tired to question kindness, leaned toward the warmth. Only then did Mara step inside. He prepared food himself, something he hadn't done in years, and placed the warm plate in front of Leah. The little girl ate slowly at first, as if afraid it might be taken away, and Adrian felt his chest tighten. Mara stood behind her, refusing to touch the food until her daughter finished, insisting she wasn't hungry, though her hollow cheeks betrayed her. Later, when she tried to clean the kitchen to repay him, her legs shook so violently she nearly collapsed. Adrian caught her before she fell. In that instant, Mara's facade cracked. She buried her face in her hands, apologizing over and over, saying she never wanted her daughter to see her like this. She had been strong for so long, too long, and the weight had finally become unbearable. Adrian guided her to a chair and sat across from her, studying the woman who had once helped him when he was invisible to the world. He knew then that offering her a meal was not enough. He offered her temporary shelter in one of the guest rooms, assuring her it was just until she could stand again. Mara resisted at first, but Leah was already falling asleep in her arms, warm and safe for the first time in days. She nodded, tears streaming silently. The next days unfolded gently. Mara regained small fragments of strength. Adrian arranged childcare for Leah while he helped Mara search for employment. He never mentioned their shared past, afraid it might embarrass her. He simply watched her rebuild herself piece by piece, with determination that humbled him. One afternoon, while Leah played in the garden, Mara found him on the balcony, staring out at the rain. She told him she didn't understand why he had helped her, a stranger with nothing to offer. Adrian finally confessed that she hadn't been a stranger at all. He told her who he was, how she had helped him long ago when no one else cared, how her kindness had changed the direction of his life. Mara listened, stunned, tears forming as she realized how small moments can echo years later. Life did not magically erase her struggles overnight, but the tide had shifted. With Adrian's support, not out of charity, but gratitude, she found a stable job, a home, and a sense of dignity she thought she had lost forever. And as she and Leah stepped into their new life, she never forgot that sometimes, help returned to you in the most unexpected form, decades after you thought your kindness had been forgotten. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Ripple of Kindness. Your support helps these stories reach souls who need hope today. Before you go, please comment below, kindness comes back.